Let's make planting this year's garden a lot easier with the Planter app. This app is packed full of features. It has companion and combative planting, which are indicated by green and red circles. It has a simple drag and drop interface. It has 80 plus plants and thousands of varieties. All the info is needed to grow veggies, including when to start seeds, transplant, and harvest, the ability to create custom plants and varieties, a growing guide with in-depth articles to supplement the quick info in the app, not to mention that you can view it and use it both on your PC and on your mobile device, so you can always be planting your garden on the go. This app is used in my garden year-round to plan the upcoming seasons, reference the last year's seasons so I know when to rotate, and it also helps me to learn more about companion planting using the visual cues. When you create your garden, it's going to be based on the dimensions, and each block is going to be a square foot. I've had a lot of fun using this app, and the Planter app, which is spelled Planter, is available in your app store on both Google and Apple. So what are you waiting for? Get out there and plan your garden, and use the link below to get a discount on the Planter app.
To have a good harvest, one must plant good seeds and must also use the right kind of fertilizer. The carrots have grown large and firm. How good they will taste.
All right, everybody, this is going to be a great show because before we got started, Batavia got nervous. And so we're going to be talking about this and so I want everybody to play along throughout the whole entire episode. We're going to be talking about 10 crops you can grow in your garden, but these are the only 10 crops that you grow. Not only that, you can't go to the grocery store, the farmer's market, trade, or acquire them any other way, and you have to consume them out of your garden only for the year. You can get other food, but just not these vegetables, fruits, or whatever. Does that make you nervous?
Yeah, I'm officially nervous.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like once we finish this episode, like, people are going to come and like start, pulling stuff out of my garden if it's not one of these 10.
Damn right. So everybody, when we're done, we're going to book a trip and we're going to go to Miss Batavia's house and just start pulling everything out that's not on the list. How's that? Now, you know how I know it made you nervous?
How?
Because you got a nervous tick. Every time we say something, you turn your head a little bit to the side and you scratch your eye, and that's your nervous tick. I've seen it after all these years, so it's out in the open.
So wait, so now anyone that's like a dealer at some casino, you've basically told them when I'm not exactly honest when I'm betting. Anyone that I gamble with, like, don't go back looking at my videos and saying,
she scratched her eye. How dare she? So, yeah, my question, well, actually, before we get started, let's do this. Thank you to the Planter app for sponsoring the show. Thank you for all our patrons and Apple subscribers. If you'd like to sponsor the show or support the show, come join us. Get that free episode every month or that extra episode. And also come see us on Facebook at Backyard Gardens Community Garden. Boom. Got it. Nailed it. Didn't think the name through when we created it, but that's okay, everybody. It's the longest one on Facebook.
Yeah, actually, you could just basically Google that. And sorry, I was going to Facebook. I don't think that's the name even. I think you've gotten it mixed up again.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Just find it through the Backyard Gardens page. All right.
Yeah.
So here's the deal. My question to you is, as you make this list, is it going to be based solely off of taste or amount of production that you can get out of your garden? Because you know how my mind works.
Oh.
The silence is deafening.
Yeah, it was I kind of looked at it because it's, okay, so pause. This started off as 10 crops you have to grow.
Right.
Then it morphed into, you can't eat them anywhere besides your garden. Mm-hmm. And so it was really easy, 10 crops, like, these are the ones I gotta grow, even if I only grow these 10. But the idea that I can't buy them from the store or any other place besides my garden really upped the ante. So then I had to go back and I'm looking at the list.
Do we need to have Leonard take over so you can finish out your list?
No, I'm looking at the list around, like, do I want to go a year and not eat some of these things? So if it's, if I feel like I really need to eat it, then it's on my list.
Okay.
And just based on saying that, I'm updating my list now. I'm removing one. I'll let you know at the end which one I removed and what I subbed in for it.
So in our ceremonial method that we do this, and I always say, no, ladies first. Do you want me to go first today so you can rework your schedule? Oh, your list sucks already. No, I'm joking. It's your list and it's everybody else's list and it's special to you. Okay. Man, there's so many. So many. I know that you're going to have tomatoes on your list, so I'm going to leave that one open. I'm going to say carrots.
Okay.
Yep, I am going to say carrots. And I'm going to tell you why I'm going to say carrots. So, see, that's the part. First of all, I'm going to be honest. I don't know if they taste better out of my garden. I just don't know. But I know that I can plant a ish load of carrots in a small space and get plenty. So I think that's, the basis. Plus, I really enjoy growing. They're just fun to grow. Frustrating, but fun.
I was talking to my great aunt yesterday, and I was sitting on my milk crate, and I had just sowed some carrot seeds. In my area, I believe it's mid-July, but definitely up until like July 1, maybe like July 15th, it said for Illinois, you can continue to sow carrots. So I'm sowing them on one edge of the bed. And remember I told you a couple episodes ago, I had like a 2x8 or something that I put on top of the bed, but not on top of the soil. And so I was waiting and keeping the soil that's underneath damp because I had sowed some carrots last week. And I was just basically watering it, not really getting up close over the last handful of days. So as I was sitting on the crate, I was chatting with her and I was listening. I looked over. I'm like, wait, are those weeds? I'm like, what? No, weeds don't grow in a row like that. Look at that. Those carrots have come up. So for a split moment, carrots almost made it onto my list just because of the quantity that's possible. But yeah, I said almost.
They didn't make it?
No, they didn't make it, man.
Look at there, everybody. You're in luck. You're in luck.
So a year without carrots basically is what I'm saying.
Yeah. No carrots for a year. That's
gosh. I'm glad I have my my bandana on there. This is like I feel like I'm gonna be sweating in the garden. All right,
I can see the beads of sweat getting soaked up by the bandana as we move forward.
Why is it darkening so much? Yeah, that's perspiration. All right, so and not in any particular order, but I thought about this and I said, but then I added it back. Lettuce, believe it or not. So lettuce is not on the list because of the taste necessarily. Although I've had some, I don't want to say like they're different tasting lettuce, they're said to be like sweet lettuce and all of that, but it's just based on how prolific it can be. Prolific is probably the wrong word. How well lettuce grows in my area, from seeds, starting it indoors, to direct sowing, to volunteering, right? And if I'm going to only have 9 other things to grow in my garden, that can be the base for a lot of crops. Now, it is tricky because I can't grow lettuce all year long in the garden.
Right.
Outside.
Ooh. But an indoor garden counts as an outdoor garden. So there it is, everybody. Yeah. No, I agree. I'm going to be honest, man. I know people are going to be like, how dare you? But I don't really taste that much of a difference in lettuce. And if I had to say something, I would say that store-bought lettuce is better than my own homegrown lettuce, because half the time I get it and it's already bolted. So, I mean, there's that part of it too, I'm eating some bitter-ass lettuce.
Yeah, I am. My lettuce is clearly bolting now. And I'm like, how do I keep on getting this wrong?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I'm glad you put it on your list. That means I don't have to put it on mine. You know what the trick is, everybody? I'm going to go ahead and just spoil the whole damn episode right now. All you got to do is live next to another garden, have them grow the opposite 10 crops, and you're good to go. Oh, wait, we can't trade. Shit. Never mind.
Yeah,
Shoot. Excuse me. There it is. I dropped it. Okay. So I was going to say ground cherries, but I can't find them anywhere around me, so it doesn't matter. I already lived that life, so I'm not going to say that. I'm going to keep it realistic, everybody. I'm going to keep it totally realistic, and I'm going to say cabbage. That's going to be one of them too. We have come this year, and I'm sure you could go back to previous episodes, and this is where we always say, thank God I'm not a politician because I'm allowed to change my mind. I guarantee you that I've talked crap about lettuce before, or not lettuce, cabbage. And I just think, like, with the amount of varieties out there and stuff like that, you can really get a banger harvest of lettuce. And I mean, we harvested our last lettuce about 6 weeks ago.
Lettuce or cabbage?
I keep saying lettuce. I'm sorry. Cabbage. Thank you for keeping me straight. Our last head of cabbage 6 weeks ago, and we still have it in the refrigerator, and it still looks like it's edible. Like, no issues at all. So, I mean, the storage time and all that, I think that we could get away with it.
That's an excellent point. Storage time and carrots. That's another one from your list. Excellent point when it comes to the life of that vegetable, even once you've harvested it.
Are you seeing a trend?
Yeah. Clearly, you've thought about this.
Throw it out the window. Don't worry.
Look, you thought about this in a way that I didn't. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cabbage. Yeah, that's a good one. I'm gonna go with potatoes. So, is it? I only have 10 crops in my garden, period. So clearly I'm going to have a lot of beds of potatoes.
Yeah. That's the other thing. You're going to have a lot of room.
So I'm going to do potatoes. And because we're not saying a specific variety of potato, it's just potatoes in general. I'm not going to cheat. I'm not going to fold in sweet potatoes I'm talking about your white potatoes. But potatoes come in short season, mid-season, long season, right? So if I get the proper varieties, I can have potatoes a lot of the year. Then you fold in the idea of storing them like in a dry, cool place. Then you also fold in the idea of not water bath canning, preserving them via pressure canning.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Potatoes.
I'm going to have to grow a lot of potatoes for that. I just sent you something. It'll be there in a second.
Okay.
So you can look. I texted it to you. I've never canned a potato yet. I haven't grown enough to have a surplus to can. I think what I'm going to do this year, just to try it, I was thinking I'm going to go buy a bag of potatoes and try and can them. I just want to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I did that last year to see.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, to see for the purpose of, do I enjoy them enough to try to grow enough to can? Are they good enough to say, oh, instead of eating a lot of my potatoes fresh, I'll can them? And the jury's still out. Like, meaning I probably will eat most of my potato harvest fresh.
Yeah.
Versus canning them. I do enjoy canned potatoes. But I probably enjoy eating potatoes as a baked potato, as fries, as roasted potatoes, and the canned potato really doesn't hold well to that. So yeah, but the potatoes still make it on my list because there's not a world I want to live in where I can't have potatoes for a year.
Canned potatoes have a certain kind of funk that come about them that just make them tasty. Just a little bit of funky taste that make it all right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not signing on to that. I mean, I hear what you're saying, but
I've eaten a lot of canned potatoes in my day. So, all right, my next one. So I've realized that I've done 2 spring fall crops. So I'm gonna dance out of that for a second, and I'm gonna say sweet potatoes. I'm gonna match you. I just love growing sweet potatoes personally. I love the fact that I can harvest them on my birthday. I usually go out on my birthday and harvest them, and then we're finishing up eating them on a bad year around April. We'll be finishing up eating them, and that's off of 1 bed. So if we could dedicate 2 beds, we wouldn't have to buy sweet potatoes ever. So and I like this year I'm doing 2 varieties, and my goal next year is to pick one of these varieties and then test out the Carolina Ruby potato next year, sweet potato. So I'm excited to try that out because I'm looking for that perfect creamy sweet potato. That's what I'm on the search for. And look, I hear all y'all's suggestions. I've tried a lot of them, and this is the one that I want to try. Just let me be me. I want to try it. So I'm going to try the Carolina Ruby next year, but they're so easy to grow. I mean, when I say easy, I mean you plant them and you just maintain them. You don't have to do anything, you know? You don't trim them. You don't really do anything.
I struggled. If I had an 11... it probably would be sweet potatoes. I feel like that's probably, of the ones you've named so far, that's probably a miss on my list.
Yeah. It would be if I lived in your area too.
Well, I mean, I think if this was like 2 years or forever, then I'd have to have sweet potatoes on there because, you know, with a year without a sweet potato pie, I could manage as long as I could have one like on Jan 1 or something, you know, like on the 366th day. I do think for the production, for the maintenance, you know, because then you have to kind of balance this idea of, is the garden less work because you only have 10 crops now, or is your garden completely filled with those 10 crops? Like, is there that big of a benefit in this situation because sweet potatoes are so hands off? You know, I'm not sure. But the shelf life of a sweet potato, I still have sweet potatoes from last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been rationing them.
So I got to say a couple things. First of all, the captions here got it messed up, and it says, "I'm drugged if I had an 11." Whatever that means. I didn't hear that, but
that's the way it sounded in my head. You know?
And then also, you know, we don't really ever ask for anything from anybody, but if you guys are on like the Facebook group or Instagram or whatever, message us if you'd like for us to do a show on 10 crops that we could only grow and eat for the rest of our lives. That's a hard one. I think I would have to wear a bandana. I'd have to wear a bandana for that one, but I'm willing to do it because it would be a true testament of what you would eat and what you wouldn't eat.
Yeah, that's yeah. Meaning, let's move on. I don't need this in my head. All right. So again, in no particular order, I'm going to go ahead and get it out of the way. Tomatoes, and it's okay. That could be your bonus. I mean, it's kind of like,
it's like
obvious for me. Yeah. It's kind of obvious for me. And it's only because of even in a shorter season, like I'm not going to like cry me a river or anything like that when it comes to, I have so few growing days, but it's shorter than some, maybe a little bit longer than others. But based on that time frame, I can produce so many tomatoes. And I think that's a benefit, especially given the way that the use you can get out of them. Tomato sauce, you can can tomatoes raw, you know, green tomatoes.
Fried green tomatoes.
All of those, fried green tomatoes. All of those reasons. And sauce keeps tomatoes. Your preserved sauce can keep for a number of years as well.
Was I messing you up?
Yeah, man, I was completely confused.
Do you know what that is? You don't remember when you were a kid? It's the world's smallest violin. It's the world's smallest violin when people would complain.
Yeah.
See? No, I don't have a booger on my hands.
Yeah, no, that's why it was freaking me out. Like, it's nasty. Stop it. So anyway, tomatoes are on that list. Actually, also, I still want there to be some joy in the garden, right? You know?
Yeah.
So the tomatoes make me happy.
I don't want to turn this into a tomato episode by any means, because I feel like a lot of times, and it's just natural to be a tomato episode for a lot of gardening stuff in general, but let's face it, it's the most popular crop. But I mean, seriously speaking, for the amount of food you get off of a tomato plant and the amount of space that a tomato plant takes, it's a pretty good return. I would think, you know, especially like a determinate variety, you know. So I agree with you. I was going to have it on mine too, just because it's like you said, it's so versatile, and it's one of those main staples. I mean, you know how you ever get a cookbook, like as long as you have these staples, you're good. Like if I wrote my own cookbook, which I thought about doing, I decided I didn't want to. Tomato sauce would definitely be one of those staples that you like. As long as you have it in your cabinet, or not tomato sauce, but canned tomatoes in general, you can put together a meal. End of story. Yep. So, yeah. What about so let's do a bonus real quick since we're on tomatoes. The one variety.
Oh,
we got to make it complicated.
No, I'm not. I don't want to. I don't want to play that game. I mean, because the obvious answer would be, some type of paste tomato. But then that really hurts. Just basically, because we didn't mention it, but of course there's salsa in tomatoes, that comes from tomatoes. And don't question me yet. You haven't heard my full list. I said salsa. But yeah, you really don't want to try to make a bunch of tomato sauce with a bunch of slicers, right? It could be done, but you're going to be working overtime on that. I'm not going to choose.
Yeah. Would peppers be like just a broad spectrum? Is that just like a cop out to just say peppers, including hot and sweets?
Yes, it would be a cop out to say peppers. You have to choose one, or it takes up 2 spaces on your list. I'll give you either sweet peppers or hot peppers.
Well, no, you ain't gonna tell me I can either grow. Well, I can grow both of them if I want. Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a hard, like if I had to pick, well, we're going to start now and I'm just going to say hot peppers. Just because for me, it's a staple for me. Like I can always pop open a can of jalapenos and put them on my food and get the spice I want. So that is one of those. Now that being said, I still don't need to have 40 square feet of hot peppers. I can do just fine off my 3 plants that I need. Like I don't need all that other stuff, but that would be one of the crops, which means in the rest of that bed, I could put sweet potatoes.
Yeah, that's hot peppers were the one. That's the one that I removed at the top of the episode. I removed it from my list. Yeah. I mean, I think there's something like so curious about hot peppers, but I really don't eat hot peppers. Like if you give me a hot jalapeno, I'm kind of like, ooh, Charlie.
Yeah.
So with the idea of it being a year, knowing that, again, while I'm interested in growing them, I couldn't let it take one of the 10 spaces. So that's why I had to pull it off.
Yeah.
And to that end, I had sweet peppers and hot peppers. That's the reason why I was so adamant about the rule.
Yeah, I know.
And I ultimately took out hot peppers.
Yeah, I mean, it would be a cop out to say both, but I look at them when I plant my garden as the same thing because, peppers plant with peppers is fine. But no, I get that. And it's a hard one too. And I may even come back and say sweet peppers as well because that's a pretty big staple. But I've been eating a lot of them recently. You know what I found? They actually make my food too sweet.
Really?
Yeah, I've been I don't know if it's something in my taste buds that have changed, but I've been I don't know, it's a little too sweet. Did you get that picture finally?
Got the picture. This might be my favorite. There's one other picture that's my favorite of yours. It's definitely in the top 2 now. Congratulations.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. So yeah, that's mine. Hot peppers.
All right. So I don't know that I've really observed that how sweet my food is. I actually don't like super sweet things. Like I'm a big fan of desserts of all kinds, but if something is just super sweet, like with a lot of icing and things, I'm not that big of a fan of it. I know that that's very different than what we're talking about when it comes to food, but I was just thinking about some stuffed sweet peppers that I had in the freezer, and it was just so good. I added then some of that pepper tomato sauce that I freeze, so thawed or whatever, and it was just so good. And there definitely was that bit of sweetness, and I didn't add any sugar to any of it. So there wasn't, when I did the peppers, no sugar. The sauce had absolutely no sugar added. And as I think back on it, there was some sweetness to that. So you may be onto something.
Yeah, maybe I am. There you go.
And that's part of the reason why I have sweet peppers on my list. Like, I think it's more out of habit as well when it comes to cooking.
Yeah.
So it's so many of the things I cook, the recipes call for this, you start off with your, like the Trinity. And so I think I probably could go without it, but because I've been cooking for my adult life with it, and then you go back to my childhood, and it was pretty common to have things like sweet peppers, mostly green bell peppers, in meals. I would be hard pressed to say it's a year without them.
Yeah.
Now,
Well,
I mean,
hold on.
I don't know for sure if I've gone a year without them. I mean, I remember before I really started growing them in earnest, I rarely bought them just based on the expense.
Let me ask you this. Are these the only 10 crops we can grow in our garden, or just 10 crops that we can't get from another place? I forgot. Do you remember?
It's more so. I think it's earlier on. I think it's you can't grow anything else besides these 10. That's the rule.
Except these, you froze.
Yeah.
Okay.
You had 10 crops in your garden. These are the only 10 that are going to be found in your garden.
Shit, I kind of want to take away my last one then, but I'll let it slide.
Out here with a do-over.
Because I forgot I could go to the store. I forgot it wasn't the end of the world, so it's all right.
No, you can't. If they're not on your list, if hot peppers aren't on your list, you can't buy hot peppers.
No.
This is, well, I made the grocery store list rule.
Yeah, no, you can eat stuff from the grocery store, but if you decide to grow the hot pepper, then you cannot get the hot pepper from the store.
Nope.
Oh, we're changing.
That's not.
Okay.
We're halfway through this. 24
That's
minutes
right.
into this.
Go ahead. I'm good.
For
I'm
the
good.
audience, if I didn't put potatoes on my list, I would not eat potatoes for that full year.
So
If I
everybody,
didn't
let's
have
say
potatoes
this.
growing in my garden, there's no other option for me to consume potatoes.
When we decide to do this challenge in real life, you guys can come check me out on Sandy Bottom Homestead and watch me breathe fire from my mouth as I've tried to replace stuff with my hot peppers. I'll be a fire-breathing dragon at that point. So, okay.
Well, I mean, there is the idea of like the condiment, right? You know, so one could argue that you can't buy hot sauce.
Yeah. I mean, because it is
Yeah.
peppers. It is pepper. Look, this gets complicated quick. This is
man.
way more complicated than I thought. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What's your next one?
All right. So this one was, I know I have 10, but trying to be well-rounded, I immediately put it on the list, and it was collards. But
Yeah.
then I thought, gosh, there's at least one other brassica that I would really want to add to it as well. But I was at the bottom of my 10. And even when I pulled in hot peppers, it was like, I don't have any pulled hot peppers. I didn't have any more. Collards, just based on the life cycle, them growing from basically probably the end of March through the end of the year for me.
Right.
And while they are limited when it comes to the way that I consume them, if that's the only thing in my garden, and I only have 9 other things growing, then I'm probably going to find ways of being creative, right? So you can definitely use collards as a wrap. You can eat them much younger and the taste is different. You can saute them versus cooking them my traditional Southern style way. So, I mean, I think I'm convincing myself that they do belong here. The volume, right? You know, and the amount of, I mean, I see it every year in my garden, the amount of plants I can put into my garden. Now, I am going to be fair. This is probably the one thing that I would wear, like, tired of. If you think about it, like,
You would?
basically there are 10 things in my garden. So I'm going to end up growing a lot of collards. I'm going to end up eating a lot of collards too.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we definitely haven't ranked them in order of how much we would grow of a certain thing, because that would be very hard. But, you know, I mean, how often do you eat collards on, I mean, let me just make it easy. In November, how often are you eating collards?
That's a good point. So in the fall, I probably eat collards twice a month. Oh, it's hard to say because it's like I cook a batch of collards and I'm going to eat however many that's in the serving. So when I cook a batch of collards, I'll eat them 3 times that week, you know? So I'm going to say,
So you're eating
like,
them 3 times a week?
not every week though, you know? So maybe 3 times a month is probably a safe bet
That's okay.
in the fall.
Well, damn,
so
I
that's
eat,
9 times in a 3-month fall season.
I eat collards way more than you. Wow. I was always expecting to be like, yeah, I eat them like 3 times a week. Yeah. Okay. So, but I mean, you eat them so much within reason, I guess. Now I'm totally floored by that answer. I'm gonna have to be honest.
Yeah.
But
Well, you know what though? You think about like the amount that I grow, the amount that I gift right? You know, the amount that I preserve. If I had collards, which I'm still trying to get to the point of like, if they would taste the same if I canned them using a pressure canner, I'd eat them every week.
That'd be
they'd
so
be a part
gross.
of my meal every single week. And I have frozen them and thawed them, and they're pretty good. They're not, you know, the best, you
I
know,
hate
like 2 or
canned
3 day
collards.
old collards from the refrigerator, you know, once that everything starts to settle in. But yeah,
Have you ever eaten them from the can?
I haven't.
They're terrible.
You know, they sell them in the stores in the can too.
Yeah, that's how I grew up
No,
eating
I've
them. That's
never.
terrible. Well, I take that back. First couple of times I ate them, they were from the can, and then my stepdad was like, "Screw this, we're going to the farm and getting some." So he'd go out to his family in the country and come back with a pile of collards, and we'd eat them.
Yeah.
That was way better. I don't care for the pot liquor and all that stuff, the traditional, but that's all right.
Oh gosh, listen,
Yeah.
it's June and I'm ready to. I think I got one more quart-sized container in the refrigerator now.
Yeah.
And this is the balance though now, because I'm at the end of my collard green storage. But I'm at the point now where I could do harvest a small batch from, you know, my spring plantings. I'm super excited about that.
I'm gonna give you
I
my
normally wait a long time before starting to pick collard greens, and this year I vowed not to do that.
Yeah.
And so based on how many plants I have, I can probably eat 2 times off of it once I cook them. And because it's still so early, I'm just, you know, I'm getting beside myself. I'm like, let me finish my thought. Since it's so early, I don't have like rampant pest damage, which means the cleaning them will be much easier.
She's excited.
We don't have any rain in the forecast. If I get a day for overcast, in my mind, I'm going to process that as a cool day. And I'm going to cook me up a batch of collard greens. I don't care that it's 80 degrees.
She don't care, everybody. She don't care. Look, I got a stressful question to ask you. How many do we have left?
That was 5 for me. And
This will be 6.
yeah. What did you
Okay.
do after sweet potatoes?
I forgot.
Hot
It's-
peppers.
It's up to Leonard. Are you
you're
documenting what I say?
Of course I am.
Uncool. Totally uncool.
What was after hot peppers? Because if nothing was after hot peppers, you're on 5. I don't know how we got ahead of that.
I don't remember now.
All right. Your 5th one?
I don't want to cheat though.
No, you've done carrots, cabbage, sweet potatoes, and hot peppers.
I did, didn't I? Somehow you just went ahead and gave 2.
Yeah.
That's all right. I'm going to say, so, you know, over the course of my life, I've grown a lot of root vegetables. It's kind of my thing. I really enjoy growing them and enjoy consuming them. So it won't be to anybody's surprise that the next one's going to be a root vegetable. Now, that being said, the surprise part is going to be that it's not going to be turnips. It's going to be rutabagas.
Ah.
So,
I know why, though.
do you?
Yeah.
Well, go ahead. Answer for me then. I want to hear it. I want to hear what you think.
It's based on how long rutabagas store.
Yes, that's got a lot to do with it, but also the fact that they're bigger than turnips.
Mm-hmm.
So I can get more out of them. The only downfall is they take longer to grow, but also because I don't like the wax coating in the store, I get that it's to keep it fresh and all that, but I just don't like it.
Yeah, it kind of freaks me out too. You know, that's really, really strategic thinking in this 10 only crops garden plan, because it's an alternative to potatoes.
Yeah,
right?
well, I didn't even think about that.
Even if you have potatoes on your list, you still, you know, there's more nutritional value, I believe, in rutabagas than there are potatoes.
Yeah.
And they definitely store a long time. It's a long crop, of course, but your timing on them, you're going to harvest, I imagine. I would plant them in the spring, but they would go all the way until the, like, maybe late summer when I'd be harvesting them. I'd be able to harvest my potatoes at a different time than my rutabaga, you know, if I wanted to kind of consider them as a swap of a crop. They're not on my list, but it's a good pick.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you're really risking it all with hot peppers and rutabaga, you know. You sacrifice 2 potentials.
Hey, look, after we're done with all this list, I'm going to tell you of a dish I'd make at the end with all this shit mixed together.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Aye, aye, aye.
It should be interesting. But I mean, you know, I've grown turnips for a long time, and this year I really like put forth, you know, like the old college try to get some good rutabagas. And I had to pull them a little early, so they were still small on the smaller side, but I ate them side by side. I ate turnips, radishes, and rutabagas. We cooked them all the same way, but ate them side by side. And the clear winner of the flavor was a rutabaga for me. Clear winner. So that's what we're going to go with. That being said, though, a turnip, you can get a bigger turnaround. But again, this isn't the end of the world type situation. Like, I'm not starving to death. So it's kind of like I eat what I enjoy, and I personally enjoy them better. Plus, you put a little bit of butter in them and mash them up. Good gracious.
That's good stuff. All right. So
All
my
right, young
next
lady.
one. Yeah. And this is the asterisk because I've never grown them
every
before.
time. The Astor Queen is back.
Apples. An apple tree.
Oh, you're stretching it now. Now, we ain't saying nothing about no orchards.
No.
I know.
Now, I don't really know. I mean, I guess clearly if I could have a tree in my property, it could be apple tree. The reason why I selected it is there's nothing like, a crisp fall apple. Right. And I've bought them from farmers markets, but I've never gone like to the pick type places. So
Yeah.
I've never gotten a bushel of apples, everything. So I imagine I am missing out. And I had to think about fruit. It felt like I needed to be well-rounded in this list of 10. When I thought about the melons, which have been unpredictable for me, when I thought about strawberries, it's kind of like, well, maybe I will have, enough space for a big old patch. I said, I'm going to go with apples. It's a perennial. So there's some ease, if you will. Now, I don't know. I've not read up on it, like in what year apples produce after they are planted.
That's going to be without apples for a minute.
Yeah. So it's like in year 22. But yeah, apple, I mean, obviously, again, an opportunity to have some fruit. I can buy other fruit. Let's just be clear when it comes to, purchases. I just wouldn't, if I didn't have apples on my list, I wouldn't be able to buy apples from any place else. That's the whole thing.
Now, I will say this. I got to pull up something real quick.
And I know it's tricky because it's kind of like, so I don't have any other fruit on my list. Does that mean I can not eat any other fruit? No. This is all, all in a little bit of fun.
I mean, I think in the name of fun, I'll let it slide. But ultimately, I think it's cheating a little bit because you ain't got no apple tree. You don't know how to grow no apples.
Well, that's the reason why there is an asterisk, because I'm not growing it today. And I basically, you know what? You don't call me a cheat. I'm not scratching my eye. Look.
That's because you're not nervous.
The reason why
You're firm in your decision.
reason I believe it's fair is basically I have sacrificed something else I could be growing to sub this in.
True.
Right? So.
And this would be a perfect world scenario where it's just like, I want an apple tree. Boom. And it's producing. How's that? I don't agree with you. So I got to tell you one quick story, and I'm going to tell you exactly why I don't agree with you. So one thing I agree with is there's nothing like a fall apple. And I know I've told this story somewhere before, but I'm going to tell it again. I was hiking on a mountain with my wife. We came across an apple orchard, and it was like the very end of the season. We saw an apple hanging up in the tree. I don't know if there's a picture of it or not. If there is, I'll try and find it and post it somewhere. And I picked her up on my shoulders, and we grabbed an apple out of the tree. And it was unbelievable apple. It was like, this is what the whole Adam and Eve story is about. Like, the serpent could have got me. You know what I'm saying? So it was one of those things where, like, that I've been a bushel apple picking and all that. Nothing rivaled this at all. It had already been frosting. Like, season was done. So I do agree with you there. Now, the one thing is a nice summer watermelon is just something to kill over. I mean, I'm just telling you, on a hot summer day, you walk out there, you grab a watermelon, and you jam a knife in it, and you cut you a slice. That's on my list, baby. I'm putting it right there.
This is your
This is
watermelon?
my watermelon is my fruit.
I don't feel like you're taking this thing seriously.
I'm dead serious. There's nothing I love more than watermelon. Nothing. Yeah. Well, okay, other than peaches and plums, but that's different. But yeah, I would definitely be growing the watermelons.
So, an addendum to the rules.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah. and I may need to pull apples off. So if you've grown it before, it's basically like take your growing experience and now you got to pick 10 crops from that growing experience.
Oh, clearly we're gardeners.
So that's a thing, right? We've just made it a thing because we said it was a thing. because I'm out here like, well, you trying to tell me I can't buy a peach from the grocery store? You know?
Yeah.
I've never grown peaches before. They're not in my garden. Yeah, I mean, I thought about melons, and in particular watermelons, like, well, gosh, it's such a short season for them to be good. But it's so hit or miss for me to get them even, good melons from the store even, so I need more consistency from my own garden to know that, all right, this is one of my 10 crops, and damn it, it's going to be delicious.
Yeah. A cantaloupe almost took its spot. And the show ain't over yet, but it came close. I know years ago I went to a farmer's market. Guy was like, hey, this cantaloupe's going bad. You have to eat it today. I'll give it to you for 50 cents. I bought it. I ate it. It was nothing like I had ever tasted in my life. And it didn't have that musky flavor or anything. It was just like pure nectar from God in my mouth. It was amazing. But again, and he was not lying. If I would have let it sit for one night, that would have been it. And I ate that whole melon, and it was unbelievable. And so that's where we started growing our own melons and stuff and learning these flavors from them. And it's totally different than the store. You know, again, lettuce, not so much, but I like lettuce. So there it is.
Lettuce is more practical, I think, than anything else when it comes to this. All right. So my next one, and while I haven't grown beautiful bulbs like you have for onions are on my list. And this one had an asterisk because in part I've bought the little, I think they're the sets, which create the set that's a penny size of a penny that creates like a $50 size onion. But with the idea of in my future years, I'm confident I'll be able to grow some, nice, juicy, slicing size onions. And again, thinking about this, a year without onions, it's almost inhumane.
Yeah, that's a tough one. You're exactly right. And I think, I wish that you could just be in this challenge, here's our staple crops. We need to move away from those. But
yeah.
Onions is truly a staple for vegetables. And even though, like you said, you've not had the best of luck with them, I think that with a little bit of grit and a little bit of trial and error, I think you can grow some damn good onions where you are. So I definitely let that one go. The difference is your onions are a bit different than my onions. I got to grow the sweet onions. You get to grow those nice pungent onions. That's what I'd like to grow. But also, there ain't nothing better than a fried Vidalia onion ring. Good night. So we'll be having that for sure. All right. What number am I on?
This is 7 for you. Number 7.
I got to fly through
Someone's
these
counting
things.
no, it's number 8. It's fine if you get an extra one.
Yeah, if I get an extra one, you know what? Then I'm lucky. I've gone back and forth a lot, and I've kind of about going through different crops, root crops and all this stuff. And I keep coming back to the roots. And my last root crop would be parsnips. Yeah, it just adds such a flavor in the wintertime that, we really and truly enjoy them. And they get really big. They're really easy to grow. We can grow them all the way into we're harvesting them in January sometimes. So the differences are kind of, pesky to germinate, but I really enjoy those. So I would definitely put that on there. The only thing is we'd have to get really creative about how we consume them and kind of step out of this whole soups and stews thing and maybe try some parsnip fries or something like that. That would be good. But yeah, that's right up there.
Yeah, I think in part, I know your love for carrots, so I shouldn't be surprised there. But again,
it surprised me to say it.
Yeah, when it's only, I keep on coming back to it's only 10, and that's, you really are ranking it high to add it to the list of 10. Parsnip surprised me and rutabaga surprised me. I'm looking at your list, and if my count of that being number 7 is accurate, for summer, you only have sweet potatoes, watermelon, and hot peppers, summer planted crops. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know what I deleted, but I did delete something. So in addition to hot peppers, I removed something else because I remember adding green beans.
Really?
And Yeah. So green beans, and it's not that I love green beans. I rarely eat them if they're not from my garden, unless I'm like, it's some meal or something that I have at some restaurant. I'm thinking about quantity. I'm thinking about the ability to preserve. I'm thinking about putting some green beans in a skillet with a little bit of butter, a little bit of salt, maybe a little bit of pepper. I didn't have lunch before we started this.
I did.
Yeah.
I got sourdough bread all over my shirt because apparently I ate like a hog. So there's that.
Oh no, that's not food. Those are Cheeto crumbs. So that wasn't lunch, but so yeah, green beans. I think although I am off to a really shaky start, which I know you'll love the idea of it being this particular pest, the roly-polies have just eaten up to the nubs the first set of pole beans that I planted. And I just gave up on that area. I'm trying it in a different area. And it's real. I've never had them eat away at crops like that. And when I moved something around and I was planting something else there, I'm just like, oh, it's like a little hive of them. It's like a little house that you guys have built over here. So even recognizing that, it's not always a guarantee that they're going to produce. Again, I think the area that I'm growing them in is the kind of rampant based on what I had over that soil. But that aside, assuming that, plants will produce, absolutely green beans, man.
Yeah, this is how I look at it for green beans. One, you can get a ton of them. There's no question about that. But two, I can probably can enough this year to skate through the next year on them. Mm-hmm. So I could leave them. I can leave them.
Oh, meaning you don't add it to your list of 10 because you may have green beans from last year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and even that, I can eat, even if the rules were like, hey, come January 1st, you can no longer have a green bean. I would have to eat so many to get rid of everything. I'd be like, I don't even want a green bean. Like, screw you. So yeah, I'm with you, or I'm against you on that one. But I get why it would be on there, and it does make sense. Now, if the rules were changed, it'd be right up there, high on the list. Wow. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I think somehow you have 3 more.
Yeah. I struggle with this. Actually, I don't struggle with this one too bad. Desi squash. Yep, my Desi squash. It's the only seed I've ever gotten from Baker's Creek that I've been able to successfully save. Now it's no longer even resembles their seed, but it was a seed that I got from them. I learned it. I like it. It's a totally different flavor from yellow squash. Which, by the way, update, I accidentally planted what I thought were 4 yellow squash, or 4 zucchinis were 4 yellow squash, and then 1 zucchini, which was supposed to be 1 yellow squash. Yeah, I got that backwards this year, so I'm a little upset about that. But this Desi squash, man, it's something like, if you don't grow it, everybody, and you want to grow a squash, there's still time. Like, get you some seeds and put them in there. They're really, really, really good. They're nice and small, compact, so you get a lot of harvest off of them. You know how yellow squash is kind of mushy? Mm-hmm. It's not mushy. And so if you like pan fry it lightly with some salt on it, it's really good. It's got kind of almost like a sweet potato texture in the middle if you get it at the right time. So that's one that I would definitely put on there. This year we ran out of seeds. We have very few seeds left, so we're actually ramping up. We have 7 of those plants in, trying to get seeds for next year and the years to come. So there is that, but it's really one of my favorite. It is my favorite squash altogether. So, and the kicker of it is I can't get it in the store anyways, so it doesn't really matter. But if we're saying like, hey, you can't eat it no matter what, like, I gotta have it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It doesn't look that appealing, and I'm not like I'm not.
It's just a round ball. It looks like a baseball. Yeah. The first year I grew it, I was shocked when I ate it. It does not look good at all. I mean, it doesn't look gross, but it's just like, yeah, it's a baseball. But I got 6 of them yesterday. And so I asked my wife, I was like, all right, we're going to cook tonight. And she's like, yeah, will you grill those zucchini? I'm like, nah, man, we got to eat this Desi squash. So tonight it's on the menu, everybody. Cheer for me as you eat. All right, go
right.
ahead, because we got to get through
No.
these, because we also have the Spotify question to answer that we got.
You have to go for another one. Make
I
it
do.
quick.
I got to catch. Oh, so you're gonna put me on the spot 2 times in a row? Snow peas. Snow peas is another one. Yep, I really enjoy those. Super fast. Get a lot out of them. Pretty quick to grow. Plant them early so it fills up a space. So I like those. And I've been taking a break from growing them, and I'm not doing that anymore. I'm growing them I'm not growing snap peas anymore. I'm done. This just doesn't
Yeah,
work
I kind
out
of
for
feel
me.
like my list is like a survival list, and yours is kind of like, oh, I love snow
look.
peas. I love to eat them for a month out of the year.
I eat them for like 3 months. My survival list will be very different. So
Yeah.
if we do that episode, I might have to like push Batavia to do it.
I don't know if I can go through this again. All right, so my 9th one is garlic, which is
Okay.
wild to me because for more than half of my adult life, I probably never cooked or consume garlic other than like garlic bread at, insert you thought you were grown because you were going out on a date and, you go to some steakhouse and it's like, all right, some steak is served with garlic bread, Texas house type, So, but that would be the limit.
Yeah.
And so then you fast forward a number of years and every cooking show is like, all right, we start off with some garlic. And now I haven't done my garlic harvest yet, but I was intimidated by garlic initially. I mean, it's a lot to say, all right, we're going to do something for me in my area in the fall and then, see what happens next spring.
Yeah.
And then I also folded into some of my fears around like how harsh our winters are. Anywho, this is I've only had one successful year of harvesting garlic. This would be the second if everything works out. But yeah, garlic, man.
Garlic's a good one. Transforms your food, that's for sure. Keeps the mosquitoes away if you eat a clove a day, too. I'm telling you, take it like a pill. That's what
And
they
the
do in
vampires.
Mexico. Not lying. Yeah, I agree. It's easy to grow, too. Easy.
All right,
I'm
get to
excited. I'm taking mine out
is this
tomorrow.
Say again?
I'm harvesting my garlic tomorrow. I'm excited. Yeah.
So this is your 10th one.
Oh, am I already
last
up to
and
10?
final.
Oh,
Yeah,
damn! I had
'cause you
to.
did the
See,
doubles.
I'm all jacked up. I don't even know.
It's either the 10th or 11th for you. Not sure.
Yeah, who knows what it is now. If it's 11, I'm damn lucky. If it's 10, I'm not. You said garlic, and I had thought of something in my mind. I changed last minute what it was. But, I mean, I'm going to have to say, as much as I don't want to, tomatoes. That's a cop-out, but it's true. It's
No.
definitely true for the exact same reasons you said, too. There's
Yeah,
just,
I get it.
Yeah.
I respect it.
Yeah.
You could have repeats. It's okay.
Yeah, it is.
Repeating
I tried
minds,
not
two separate
to, and it's
gardens.
really hard not to because garlic is right up there, too. And we didn't even get into herbs. I didn't.
Number 10, oregano.
Ah, you just made that up last minute. Don't even
No, it's
front.
number 10 on my list.
Really?
It's
Good for
absolutely is. That's what I took off. When I added apples, I took off basil to add apples, which, again, probably is a bending of the rules. But oregano, so I started to go through it and I'm like, oh, basil is so delicate. Oregano for me is a perennial. I still probably am not growing enough of it. But again, if this is like, all right, we're planning for the year ahead and this is it, this is all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oregano.
Yeah. So I don't use enough oregano, first of all, but we do feed it to our chickens, so there is that. But I'll say this, if we split it up into spring and summer, it would be a hell of a lot easier. I would probably be struggling to hit 10 must-haves.
Yeah, I don't think we could do summer crops, and it'd have to be something like 5 vegetables,
Yeah.
to make it interesting.
Yeah, but as a whole, it's really hard to do if you think about it too. So, and I mean, I tried to keep mine pretty true to how I grow and eat and stuff like that. So, what'd you think? Did you struggle?
Yeah, right now I don't have grower's remorse or anything.
I do.
I feel pretty good about, the list. But I basically floated through, picked out vegetables in my head, but I kind of zip past. I'm going to harvest some broccoli, probably quite a few heads over the next couple of days. And I consciously said, nope, you know, and I enjoy broccoli a lot. But a year without broccoli, I'm going to, you know, broccoli probably could have come in place of oregano.
Yeah.
But again, thinking about how much you have to grow of it, you could just tuck some oregano plants in all kinds of things.
Well, and see, that's the beauty of having a garden is when you when you step out of that box, you're like, wait a second, there's way more. Because, you know, I didn't mention my other two were broccoli and Brussels sprouts. Big ones, big ones. But, you know, tomatoes are bigger because, like I said, it's a staple. You know what I mean? Onions, like for me, a Vidalia onion is a Vidalia onion. It's not the onion that everybody knows and loves. So there, you know, there's concessions to be made, but it's crazy to think about. I challenge everybody to think about it that way too. Just like put yourself in that position.
Well, it's also, you know, when you think about the whole, what should I grow, you know, for newer gardeners or gardeners that are expanding their space, I struggled a lot as I expanded my space. It wasn't like I had a list of things I wanted to grow and then I started digging up garden beds. It was, I just knew I wanted to do more. And so then each year since then, I've been looking around like, all right, what should I put in here? Now, basically, I mean, sans apples.
Yeah.
I have a starting point to say, like, what's happening if these things aren't in my garden? I mean, I said, if they're only 10, this is what it's going to be. And I could build around that. I think it's pretty representative of what. So now, again, I'm going to go through my list, pick a thing from my list, and we're going to get to the question that you'd like to add. So you're going to steal one item from me. Lettuce, potatoes, tomatoes, sweet peppers, collards, apples, onions, green beans, garlic, oregano.
Well, first of all, thank God we have the captions on. I mean, dude, there's like 4 on your list that I'd take from you.
I said you can only steal
I
one,
know,
you thief.
But I'm done playing the game now. I'm being realistic. Like, I'm over. I'd lose because I want lettuce, I want potatoes, I want sweet peppers, and I want garlic. You know what I mean? Like, I want what I want. I'm a grown ass man. I should be allowed to have what I want, right? I guess that's life. Life lesson learned.
So for you had, if I'm not mistaken, if I am, I'm missing one. Carrots, cabbage, sweet potatoes, hot peppers, rutabaga, watermelon, parsnips, desi squash, snow peas, tomatoes. That's hard, man. Like, I'm torn between, I'm going to take sweet potatoes.
Yeah.
Now, if we were really cutthroat, it would be, if I take it, you can't have it, like they do in those challenges on like the cooking shows or whatever.
Oh, no,
but
we
we're
ain't
not going to do
doing
that.
No, that's ridiculous. This ain't Iron Chef or whatever. No, we're good. This ain't Iron Gardener. There you go. Right? When you go to make that TV show, let me know. Yeah. So it's crazy. You know, in the ultimate world, it's, let's say you could only grow 10, but you couldn't go buy it. I would say, okay, Batavia, you grow yours, I'll grow mine, and we'll hook each other up. Boom. There it is, everybody. You made it. So, and the sad part is when I look at my list, I'm going to have a lot of watermelon, squash, and cucumbers and tomatoes because I got a lot of space and nothing else growing in it. So, you know, this is what it is. But here's the deal. Spotify has this new feature. Apparently, they let you ask a question or whatever you decide to put onto your show when it releases. So it originally started as, hey, tell us what you think. Well, I changed it to leave us a question. Now, the unfortunate part is they have not given us a reason or a way to answer you on there. So as more people do this, we will bring this in on the episodes, answer the question on the air. And if other places decide to do that, then we will do the same thing for them. But unfortunately for right now, it's Spotify, and we also reserve the right to pull stuff off of Facebook if it seems like it is helpful to other people. So Dwayne wrote us, and he says, first of all, thank you, Dwayne. He says, I love the show.
Hey, Dwayne.
Happy
Why do you
Gardener
never give me a
emoji.
chance to say hello to the people?
You got your time. Hold on. He says, I love the show. Happy face gardener emoji. I'm having issues with rabbits destroying my garden, and I'm not a big fan of... Hold on, I got to figure out this. I'm not a big fan of fences. So, suck your toe. Where is the rest of it? It's cutting it off. Okay, so he's not a big fan of fences. What do we do? This is a tough one.
Would netting be counted as fences?
I think he didn't want netting either. It's like and it's Spotify has cut it off. So again, people were working with this. I'm sorry.
I have no idea. Like, without creating some barrier, I don't know how you resolve this.
So,
I know this is a common complaint from others when it comes to rabbits entering their garden space, but I got nothing, Dwayne.
My friend Dwayne, you got a couple options in my book. So let's just be realistic here. Elimination is going to be a big part of it.
Yeah.
No, hold on. It's different than what it sounds like. Get a cat, first of all. May not eliminate them, but it'll scare them away. So that can help. Another thing that I've done in the past is I've put cayenne pepper on my plants. Like you buy it in bulk and you just pour it on there. And when they sniff it, it'll burn their nose and it can keep them away. You can try that. The only problem with that is you got to do it like every time it rains. And then the other thing is I've used like have-a-heart traps where you put some bait in there, they come in there, they eat it, and then you remove them off your property, take them far away and release them in the woods, which is my preferred method. But generally speaking, it's all about like deterrent. You have to think about the animal. They're really big on their senses, so their nose. You can get like ultrasonic detectors. I've been using those this year. It's nothing more. They're solar powered. Stick it in the ground. Something comes near it and it lets off this high pitched noise. And I have not had anything getting into my garden. And I've had a problem with raccoons and possums getting into my garden. So this has helped with that as well. Also keeps my cat out of the garden. There it is. So yeah, you just.
Well, how is she protecting the garden if she's not in the garden?
Her ass can figure it out. She's figured out how to get around it without anything bothering, without hearing that noise. Now she does grow used to it, so you have to move it around. But that's been a big help for me this year.
Well, I'm glad. Well, you have some options for Dwayne. I have other crawling animals, but I think that from what I've seen online, rabbits, man, they're savage. You know,
they are
when it comes to the kind of eating crops down to the nubs.
Now, all y'all know this isn't really the platform for this, but I'm a hunter. Fried rabbit's good eating. Just saying, you can make it happen if you want.
Well, when I said, so I consume meat. Heart stop. Right.
Yeah.
And so although every now and again I come across something, I'm just like, maybe this is the time to make the transition. But anywho, I say that to say like, I'm not closing my eyes to it. I actually don't want to like manage the animals, period.
Yeah.
Like,
it's tough, man. It's tough. It's well, first of all, I'll say this, there is a major disconnect between people and where meat comes from. And I get it. I understand. But if you don't want to kill them, there's all these other ways, and it's just all about like scaring them out. So I don't know if it's on our Amazon store. It will be by the time we get on there because I've been using it for a couple months. I'll put in the Amazon store the deterrent that I'm using if you guys want to try it out. And it's been working really well. And I had somebody give me one that shoots out one direction, and then I bought one that shoots out in 4 directions. I prefer the 4-direction one clearly because it's more effective all the way around in circles, so we'll do that. But yeah,
and maybe
so far,
our connection, it shoots out water.
No, like a high pitched sound. It's a certain kilohertz pitch for the animal that it's targeting. Yeah. No, it doesn't shoot out water. No, that's another good one that they have motion detector sprinklers too.
Yeah, when I last year when I was. When I thought that I would have to live with raccoons, which either they are not messing with anything or they've not returned to my garden this year. I haven't seen sight of them, but I've not been looking at my cameras either because I'm kind of afraid to know that they've been there. But anywho, I'd done some reading on those devices that could spray, and I think some of the reviews are basically like they got more drenched than they think any of the animals did. So there is that. But yeah, good luck, Dwayne.
Yep, good luck, Dwayne. Well, no, it doesn't matter for them because they come in the daytime. But motion sensor lights help keep pests out too. I've been using those too. So there it is, everybody. I think we have established the 10 crops that we would grow. I think that we've established that we are going to continue to do these things. And we should also continue to support the Backyard Gardens podcast on Patreon, Apple subscriptions, or you can come hang out with us on Facebook at the usual place. But we did learn to grow and grow for change.
See ya.
Now you know why people feel like celebrating at harvest time.
All over the world, people have feasting and good times when the crops have been gathered in.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for checking out the Backyard Gardens podcast.
If you like what we're doing and you want to continue to support the podcast, head over to our Patreon page to sign up.
You can also make a one-time donation using PayPal. Both of these links are in the description.
With your support, we can continue growing and helping others in their gardens. See ya.
If you guys want some Backyard Gardens gear,
Go to the link below and check out our t-shirts, mugs, pint glasses, and other gear.
all purchases go towards helping to support the show, so thank you so much in advance, and we hope you enjoy. We want everybody to have a garden, and we're going to give you a chance to win free seeds every month.
Head over to backyardgardenstv.com and enter your email address to be entered in all of our giveaways.
Good luck!
We want you to be a part of our gardening community. DM us a picture of your garden at Backyard Gardens TV on Instagram, and we will share it with our listeners.